that jumped from the high tree said it would praise itself if no one else did. How would you interpret it?
The lizard that
Jumped from the high tree said it would praise itself if no one else did.
It is a matter of don't think that you are the one who knows it all.
Mm-hmm.
There are other people that probably are ahead of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well said.
Indeed. Okay. When we think about the children's department, normally the thought that comes to mind without even looking at mandates or anything is that we're talking about, okay, is there a lost child somewhere? Should they be put in a children's home? Who's handling adoption? Who's handling what happens with children if there's separation by the parents and all of this? But as the world changes and we're now squarely in an information age, that means access to information and things that children would not have access to previously now has been blown out of the water by 1,000. That in the snap of your fingers, that children have access to information all over the place, and unfortunately cannot be protected as much as they were. Usually children are playing outside and you could ask your child to come into the house and that was it. But now children can be inside, they're playing, but they're talking to somebody in Vietnam.
Yeah.
For crying out loud, and God only knows what it is that's being done. And we'll get into some of those ugly spaces this morning because we have to.
Yeah.
First of all, give us an overview of what this world actually looks like when children may be on the internet. And we're talking about the child that you want to keep quiet, 3-year-old, and you give them a tab and say, sit over there in the corner. What are we looking at here?
Thank you for having me. When we talk about online child protection, we are talking about an issue that is not a future concern, rather that an issue that is already here with us. So when we talk about what the online space is like, we cannot say that entirely that the online space is bad or the internet is bad. Actually, it has so many advantages. Like, for example, children used to get to learn, get to socialize. They get to do all these things, entertain themselves. But on the other side, there are some people somewhere seated, ready to exploit our children. So now the question is, how do we make sure that these children interact with the internet, but at the same time they are safe? I think that is what we should be focusing on this morning.
Okay.
Because the internet, yes, it is a good place. It has so many advantages, but at the same time, it has so many risks. There are people somewhere waiting to groom children, to bring them closer so that they can take advantage of them, extort them, do all sorts of bad things to them.
We talk about the internet as many continue to consume it, right? And you find that many parents themselves don't even know how to protect themselves on the internet, let alone protecting their children.
That is where the problem starts.
So then one asks the question that with internet being there and parents, many nowadays, you have a small child, you have a child, and the next thing you know is they are being all over the place. Give them a phone. They will find a way of being quiet, and I can continue with my thing. How do parents or caregivers take care of themselves, know how to use the internet before they even start thinking of taking care of their children on the internet?
Well, I would say that is a question of, should I say integrity? Whereby you yourself, you first of all train yourself how to manage your screen time, how to, know how to navigate the internet space, aspects like differentiating between fake news and real news, Then from there, you'll be able now to guide your children. Another aspect is that we cannot do away with the fact that children who are born in this technological era are more techno-savvy than their parents. Then as a parent, what should you do? The main thing that you should do is that you should have the interest, first of all, to be able to know how to embrace the change about the technology, because technology is fast evolving. So you take yourself, you up your game on how to know the new apps, the new risks, because truth be told, the children know this internet, but you know the risks better. So the bottom line is, you as a parent, do you have the morals? Do you have the internet etiquette? Yeah. Do you differentiate between screen time and all what you do is just when you get home, you just get hold of your phone, you don't care, you don't want to socialize with your children, you don't know what they have been up to the whole day. Yeah. So the bottom line is, you as a parent, first of all, having the online etiquette, and again, having that you're interested in knowing the trends, what is happening in the online space. Don't just sit there and say, me, I'm old school, I don't know these things.
Okay, Charity, let's be real for a minute, okay? What is happening in that space? Because if we don't know what's happening, and if we can't even talk about it, how are we saying that we should be protected from it? It's like, those are the days where there was a weirdo who was by the shop, and he knows that everybody in the area knows that you don't send your 11 to 12-year-old girl to the shop because that guy was there and he's going to do something weird, right?
Yeah.
It was in plain sight. You could see it. So everybody knew, well, we don't go there because this is going to happen. What are we saying is in the dark, cloggy rooms of the interwebs that is happening, that we are saying, don't let your children go there? What is it?
Children are being cyberbullied. Children are being body shamed to a point of a child's self-esteem goes down up to they cannot do anything on their own. Children are being groomed. By grooming, I mean the perpetrators are now trying to build a kind of a relationship with this child to be able now to bring them closer so that they can now be able to exploit this child. Children are being recruited into doing so many things. I mean, like live streaming. There's the aspect of live streaming of OXEA. OXEA is online child sexual exploitation and abuse, whereby the perpetrator, after now grooming this child, they are able now to bring them in a room, have them interact in the act, and they are being recorded, and someone is sitting somewhere watching at this, and they are gaining something from that. We also have the perpetrators.
Okay.
You see, it is a kind of a interlinkage whereby you are the perpetrator. You recruit children. They come to your room. You force them or entice them to indulge in the act while you're recording. Then somewhere is seated somewhere, maybe in Kenya or even other countries, and they are watching this thing. And you see now you are getting paid from that. And that is very wrong.
We've talked about screen time.
Yes.
Right? And we live at a time where you find people in matatus always on phone.
Yes.
You're traveling somewhere, Nairobi to Mombasa, you spend majority of that distance always on your phone. You're flying, you are on your phone. You are with your child. They pick that from you, right?
Yes.
But here then we have a situation where we have perpetrators who are taking advantage of children, who are grooming them from the word go. And would you say that parents know or they do understand what happens in the interwebs? Because many don't. It's the reason why someone would easily just buy a new phone for their child because they asked for one. Chukua. But do they know of the dangers that lurk in that gadget?
The honest truth is that most parents don't know about these things. Like I said, many parents are of the opinion that me, I'm analog. I don't know what happens in the web. But truth is that so many things are happening in that web, and it is high time that we come together. Remember, the issue of protecting children from online abuse is not a one-man show. we must come together as different actors. And also forums like this, they are very important so that a parent can hear maybe of cyberbullying, maybe of sexting, maybe of sextortion, maybe of live streaming, yeah? And they are able to know, oh, kumbe there's this thing that exists.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this thing where we kind of bury our heads in the sand and imagine that, well, it could be happening to children, but it would never happen to my child. So my child is just playing, the fun game, or they're just watching the football. They're not doing anything else. Are you saying essentially it's time for us to remove our minds from that notion that it could not be your child?
Exactly. And I have a question for you, Odu. You're a parent. Yes. You are here at work right now. Do you know what your children are doing?
Yes. One is in Miss Mwenni's class. The other one is in Mr. Okel's class. Yeah. Right now, I know exactly where they are.
Yeah.
And the other one is in an exam.
Let's say, for example, now, because they are maybe in session, they're in school. What about when they're on holiday?
I do. Maybe ask another parent, because I am a terrorist and I will know exactly what they are doing. You see, because these things, and this is the thing that we must, are we saying at this point that we must, so intentional that it's almost embarrassing about what you will or you will not allow, because you can see the danger ahead.
Yes.
Because you are aware of just how crazy things are outside here. So there's it's a judge of the High Court who was in this room and told us about some horrendous things that are happening just here in Nairobi, whereby there are children, and this is what I was saying, let's get real and let's talk about some of these things, There are children of school-going age who, when they leave their homes in the morning, you, as a parent, imagine that they're going to school, okay? They don't go to school. They go to a place, right, where they are then put in a room somewhere. There is a camera.
Yes.
They are divested of their clothing and they perform for the camera.
That is not the live streaming I was talking about.
And they're given 1,000 shillings. You can imagine a child who is paying 5 shillings for food on a school day is now being given 1,000 bob. 1,000 shillings. They come back home in the evening as though they were at school. Then it comes out in the open that, okay, this is happening. The parents of these children are not surprised. They're just like, okay, this is happening. This is terrible. But I cannot allow my child to do this. Do you know what happens? The parents are now given 3,000 shillings. And then they are told, okay, this is very good. My child can even come tomorrow. Do you now see the warped nonsense that is actually happening here? So not only are these children being exploited, the parents are aiding in this thing that we're talking about, where we don't even know. Somebody in the middle of nowhere, Bunduland, is the one who is watching these children and getting off on some sick fantasy when children are performing for the camera.
You see, although I accept, I concur with what you're saying, that there are so many things that are happening. But now the issue is, are these parents really aware of what this animal we are talking about, Oxea, is all about? And also we can also not forget about the issues, the push factors of what really makes these things happen. From your example, you have talked about children who only survive on 5 shillings for lunch. And they are here being given 1,000 bob. And when they report to their parent is silenced by being given 3,000. What could be the push factor there?
Poverty.
The poverty, isn't it? So, regardless of whether there's poverty or not, there's need. And actually, that is what we are doing, to try and educate these parents to know the magnitude of the danger they are exposing their children to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Evelyn
is here.
Karibu.
Asante sana.
So we look at the online debate in the country and what is happening to children, right? We've just established that many parents out here don't understand the dangers that do exist in these online spaces, right? But even while at it, one would ask then the question, while we have parents, we equally have government. who, because for you to access internet, see, government ilileta cable, ikikat, you know. Most of the time we're told ilikatwa na ship, that's why we don't have internet. So they are responsible of internet that gets into the country. Therefore, one would also say, in terms of regulation, they are the ones who put place regulations that would go forward to not only protect the children, but equally protect each and every individual who is using the internet. But that notwithstanding, do we know, do parents know of how the government is protecting them on these spaces? Do we care to read terms and conditions apply? You know, it's usually that fast, you know. And what must we all do then to protect children in these spaces?
So first, thank you so much.
Ndu says she's a terrorist.
She's one of those.
Yeah.
Happy to be here. I was actually running an online safety assembly at a school. That's why I kind of relate. I think for parents, because we have so many things that go around in our day, having children with their phones is one of those, let me just babysit, we move on, right? And I said one of these days I'll get into trouble with this statement. We are firefighters as Kenyans. We wait for trouble, then we decide we will do something about it.
Put down the
Not
fire.
to say that we don't know, because sometimes I feel like the parents I would interact ordinarily with would be, but hizo vitu zo happen country ingine. Haziwezi happen Kenya. Si watoto wetu. So there's that mentality. That our children are probably not really exposed, and if they are, they wouldn't do. So it's okay, let's wait and see, right? Very many people know what government does, very many people, but because the fire is not in their homes, they don't care to do much until it comes to the home. Or then something has happened in school, then parents have been summoned to school, then be like, oh, okay, then who do we call? Yeah. So we are always fighting, we are always trying to put out fire. But of course, with very many conversations that would have, the approach that I do take is to train children, because they're the ones with the agency. And I would tell them simple things like, your footprint belongs to you. If you were to put naked photos online or access inappropriate data, your parents will feel bad and it will end there. I'll give you a hug, let's try and pull this thing down. But at the end of the day, it is your footprint. So you have to start thinking about how to protect yourself. You need to start thinking about the dangers. When we were growing up, we would be told, don't talk to strangers, right? Stranger danger. Now, stranger danger doesn't really exist. Why? If a child is playing Roblox, by the time they're being groomed by somebody, that person took time to befriend your child. So that is ideally not a stranger to them. They'll be like, but I was playing with him and he's my friend. When you ask a child ordinarily, how many friends do you have online? They'll be like 50.
Right.
Like, you have 50 friends? Why? How? But on Roblox, they're called friends.
That's that thing.
Even at their understanding, what I would say is a friend to me doesn't really apply to them. So we have to change our language. We have to show them the impact before it happens, so that they start taking that responsibility themselves. Obviously, for government, we've really, really tried, because we've told government, you can imagine a parent in Loitoktok, Samburu, whose first need in the morning is to make sure there's food on the table. They will really not care what the child is watching online, right? But that child is going into a CBC school where they're accessing internet and all these kind of things. So the government at the last mile, and this is what we really are trying to push, when they're giving the last mile internet, can they compel the service providers to protect the last mile, so that the parent who really doesn't know this danger is protected by the government for that matter. Of course, the other parents will be like, I'll put a firewall here and there, then the children circumvent. So it's almost like rock and a hard place, but it's not lost, because we still have to keep talking about it. We have to share scenarios. And like in my classes, I would share scenarios that they understand. It happened in Kenya. I don't want to paint a picture that happened somewhere else, because they'll be like, but that happened somewhere else. You paint scenarios here so that they can see, oh, it actually happened to someone who looks like me, walks like me, so that it sinks in.
How bad is the situation? That goes for both of you.
It's getting...
Just paint a picture of where we are as a country in terms of abuse against children online.
It's getting desperate, because bad actors, and we call them bad actors, they're becoming extremely sophisticated. Extremely. I'll paint for you a scenario. a child innocently will be playing Roblox. For them to be able to start grinding, that's the language they use, right? For them to start grinding, and they want to get to certain levels, they need access to money. The money that is used, the currency used on Roblox is called Robux, where you have to use real money to buy fake money so that they can go and do all these nice things they're doing online, right? So a bad actor would give you 50 Robux to just, entice you enough. So you grind and grind and grind. After the 50 Robux, they'll tell you, show me a photo of your boobs. Because you don't have access to money, right? If you show me photos of your boobs, I'll give you more Robux. Correct?
Because that Robux thing for mom, buy me Robux. It's like anyway.
Yeah. So, because at that point, this child is like, I need to keep grinding.
Yeah.
They'll not think twice. Ndo, you and I are women, and if I was to send a selfie with my chest, I'll show my face. As opposed to a dude showing a naked photo, it will not show their face.
Got it.
So who is vulnerable? The girl more than the boy. But once they've sent this image, they don't have any control how it will be used. They'll be given the Robux, but they don't know how this image now will be used against them.
But even boys are just as vulnerable in this.
Absolutely.
We're looking at crazy things that are happening with young boys.
Yeah.
Actually, there was a survey conducted some time back, I think in 2019, 2020, the Disrupting Harm Survey. Yeah, it showed that about 67% of children aged 12 to 17 years, they are able to access internet. And about 64% of those in the rural and 80% of those in the urban areas, they're able to access internet. And mind you, that was in 2019.
Yeah.
What about if we were to conduct another survey right now?
There's more penetration now, definitely.
Yeah. That shows you that there is more penetration, and therefore this does not mean that we panic. Rather, we should be on the alert.
Shouldn't we do both? Be on the alert and still panic.
But if you panic, you not solve
when
any
you panic,
issue.
you reprimand in a way that may also harm the child. Because remember, as a parent, it's the best interest of the child first, right? If you found your child's naked photos online, before you reprimand them, you'd first want to find out, how can I get this down? Then once I have sorted all that out, because you want to remove the noise from outside, then internally you can sort that. But when you panic, you will shut down the internet, you will take the phone, you will do all these things, and sometimes they don't work, because imagine taking away a child's phone.
Yeah.
They'll go to the playground and find another one. Zima internet, ya neighbor iko. The access is way all over.
So then, does it call for more vigilance?
Yeah.
Because here we are talking about a thing that previously, like you said, we knew, stay away from the stranger, stay away from the weird guy at the shop. Don't go to the shop in the evening alone, because this and this, would happen. If your house help starts acting funny around your boys, then okay, fine, this one has got to go, kind of thing. It was the one that you could see. Now we're dealing with something that you cannot see. So it seems as though extra vigilance, or in this case eternal vigilance, then is required. Whereas it's an easy escape to say, okay, well, don't bother me, I have other things that I'm supposed to be doing, you go over there and play. That in order to save a situation in the future, you have to be alive in the present. Across, it's a lot more work. That it has become more complicated, so then it needs you to be more vigilant. Is that what we're looking at today?
Yeah, vigilance and presence and intentionality, because there is one thing that I've always told parents that they can do, and I give them examples of being interested in what your children are interested in. Because I might not understand as a parent how all these games work, but I want to sit with you to just see how it affects you. And it will be the simple things. When you're starting the game, your demeanor is really good, you're quiet, you're calm, but as you keep losing, you start getting agitated. So I want to see what made you agitated while you were playing, so that I know how to help you offline, right? While you're playing and you start hearing change of language, if you're not intentional, if you're not spending time with your kids, those things will just bypass you, right? I always tell parents, once a week, try and just sit with your kids and let them choose a movie, sit down and watch with them. And then put your phones down, so that if you're watching and your child just makes a flinch, you'll see it. Then you'll be like, oh, okay. A movie will come, and then there are two daddies and two mummies, and your child will ask a question. That is your opportunity to have that discussion. Ordinarily, if you're not present, if you're not intentional, and you're not interested in what they're interested in, those moments will pass you. They will definitely pass you.
And also, let us not forget that this thing is not a one-man show, like I said. Yeah, let us not say that it is entirely the parents' responsibility to monitor what their children are doing online. Yeah, the parents are doing their bit. Teachers in schools should also embrace digital literacy. The government, on the other hand, is enforcing the laws that have been put in place. You know, the issues of Cybercrime Act, the data protection. You know, the tech companies also, they have a responsibility of ensuring that they adhere to the guidelines that are set by the Communication Authority of Kenya. Yeah.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
You said that the government is focusing on cybercrime and all of this.
Yes.
So the thing about this internet, though, is that if, like, where we're dealing with manual things before, if a fella was at the shop and did something weird, he could run away. And unless you actually tracked his footprints or asked somebody, where did you see this guy, chances of you finding him are they reduce as you go along. Digitally, however, there's a footprint of what you do. It remains. Somebody can find you. So these cases where we know very well that something is happening and that somebody posted a picture somewhere and transmitted it, or somebody sent a video out, this can be tracked. The cyber police, essentially, can find these people. Are they? We seem to have focused a lot of attention on a video that somebody put on Twitter, for example, or on X, for example, talking about I don't know who did what. Do we hear about, have we? Okay, maybe that's a better question. Have we heard that anybody has been investigated and or found to have been engaging in such things, bullying of children of school-going age? What did you call Coxa? What did you call that? Oxea.
Yes.
And these things, do we find that investigation, somebody's been nabbed, there's a ring going around, like the ring that we're telling you that the courts are very aware about, of these children in Kibra who are not going to school, but are going to essentially act pornographic movies to be paid for 1,000 shillings. Do we see investigations going on?
Yes, I would say. I would say that there are very many successful cases that we have had.
Okay.
And also, before I even go to the successful cases, there is a unit, the DCI unit, AHTCPU, Anti-Human Trafficking and... Yes, that one. I had a session with them, and they said they receive about 60 cyber tips per day. This tells you that we are moving somewhere. A cyber tip is like an alert. Like if you notice a child is being exploited somewhere, you send that alert to the DCI. Coming back to the cases, I would say there have been quite a number of successful cases, like the Malindi white guy. That you saw it was all over. That person had a website where they were luring children that they are going to train them, they are going to coach them on football. Then when these children come closer, he would be able to like sodomize them. You see? So this tells you something, that it is not all the time that this thing starts in the offline space. Sometimes it starts in the online space and ends up in the offline bit. Yes, and we also had the other case of was it Peter Mureithi or something? Yeah, he was abusing children. And he was also caught in possession of child pornographic materials. And he was sentenced to life imprisonment. And he was fined 90 million for possession of child pornographic materials.
Yeah, there's even a house nanny who was arrested, Honorable Kibosia's case.
Yes, I remember that.
Yes, the nanny was creating content of a young child and sending the content to the boyfriend. So I mean there are quite a number of successful cases, but I think also because sometimes you also have to protect the child. Maybe some of them don't really get out there, but for sure, because even one of the things we tell parents is put the number 116 on the fridge. I also add the toilet because those are high traffic places, such that if your child is not within range of adults, 116 is a toll-free child helpline. They can call it in their own words, just say, I'm not feeling comfortable, I'm scared, I'm this and this and that, and somebody will be able to help them through any situation. And 116.
One thing that made me really happy, and it's a sign that you're progressing, is that in that case, the child was able to be compensated.
Yes.
That is so commendable.
Yeah.
Okay, so even as we look at how this is developing and the cyberbullying is that children tend to retreat, what are signs, Evelyn, that there might be something going on with your child? You can't see it, there's no physical manifestation, but that something is going on here and that can point to the time that they spend on the internet.
Yeah, so you would have to look at one or two signs where either your child retreats completely or they become overly aggressive. So retreating would mean that the normal things they would do now, they really don't want to go outside, they don't want to talk to their friends, they just want to lock themselves up, which is out of the ordinary for them. Or then now your child becomes overly aggressive. They're outside, they're talking back to people, they're hitting, they just want to cause harm because someone is causing harm to them. They want to transfer that harm to someone else. So those are two signs we always check. We found children who are self-harming. And you realize maybe the sun is so hot, but your child is still in a very heavy jacket because they've cut themselves in a way that they don't want now to expose where they're self-harming. And for that, it would be because I'm feeling hurt and I don't know how to express myself in a certain way. So I'll harm myself to feel relief. So it is just being very attentive. Also trying to also know who your children are interacting with. Because sometimes I feel like it's ignorant for me not to know my children's friends. And because if something is happening to them, I'd go to their friend who maybe they've confided to and get to know what is happening. So it's just being, as you said, eternal vigilance. Eternal vigilance. Yeah.
Yep.
And also adding to what Ndu said, if you maybe notice like your child suddenly possesses gifts, you know?
Yeah, question.
Yeah? You're supposed to question, like a child has new clothes, new shoes, you do not give them this money, then you're supposed to inquire and know the source of this money.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. One then asks the question, if you look at developed countries, in one way or the other, they started dealing with these way back, right? And they've managed in one way or the other to come up with policies, to come up with ways that everyone knows what to do, where to go to. How have they done it? How have they managed to do it right? That we are not, and what must we do then for us to get there?
I was in one very developed country just this January, and I asked to be taken to a public school.
Yeah.
And I wanted to find out how the school itself, as a public institution, is taking care of children's rights and safety, but also what they have mandated parents to do.
Yes.
So they asked me, can you just try and search one porn site? And I was Pornhub, right? And it asks you, as the person who wants to access this site in a public Wi-Fi in a school, to take a selfie. You have to verify through a selfie that you're an adult. Yeah. And these are some of the measures that, for me, even as an adult, I want to access a porn site, I have to give my data. You go into spaces where you have to access certain things, you have to have put your credit card number so they can know, oh, this person, they're profiling you, obviously. But it's that extra mile where the government has said, these sites are available for adults, yes, but should you be an adult who is in contact with children, then we actually know that your devices are accessing these sites, so ordinarily children. In this particular school, they have parents checking. So if your child is found with something inappropriate, it's the parent who takes liability, not the child. So again, you're pushing the responsibility to the parent. The government has its role, the parent has their role. But what I found very interesting is that the children are always being taught to take their own responsibility, again, because of their footprint. So it is an ecosystem that has to play together in protecting the child, and not one person can drop the ball, because you drop the ball, then it is the child who loses. And I feel even for government having policies, and I think in these countries where you see people are actually being apprehended, it gives you a sense of relief, because then you're removing these people from the street. Somebody has to take those extra miles to make sure that if I'm creating sites that like OnlyFans, I'll give an example of OnlyFans. It's subscription. So if your child is on this site, they've gone all the way to even put in credit cards for them to access these sites. And it is a measure that, of course, then you'll have to find a very small percentage of children as opposed to very many. So even they are being mandated to make sure that.
So how are they paying for this? I mean, this is the question, because how are they paying for this? Because you have to use a credit card. It's got to be authorized. It's the same way that, there's some children in certain schools who are buying vape. And the only way you can do that
is if you have
access to money.
Yeah.
And in most cases, if you're buying it online, then you have to have access to some kind of credit card. How is this happening?
But if you give your child a Safaricom line today, they have access to a credit card.
Yeah, I know that, but okay.
And also the issue of what we'll term as digital. Is it digital parenting, whereby you when a child comes to you with a certain problem, you just say, you take the money and go sort yourself. You don't want to know.
Where are you sorting yourself?
You don't know. You don't want to know.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have to ask.
Yeah.
But this is the way things are right now.
No, I really don't understand. And maybe for the purposes of all of us all to understand, in what scenario? And perhaps this is me being maybe sheltered or naive. In what situation do they live in your house?
Yes.
Okay. Then they come and they say, I want to do this. And then you say, here is money, go. Where are they going? Are they going to the... And where are they going? And whom are they going with? To where?
You must concur with me that these are not the times when you would go to a shop and buy your children clothes.
Who is going for them?
They would come to you and tell you, when you go to buy for me, I mean, you get something that is not fashionable.
No. We go together.
Something it's not my taste.
We go together. I sit there. You do the thing.
You see, you are an empowered parent, but most of these parents, what they do is, you want clothes, mostly for teenagers.
I'm gonna be going out with my girls for shopping.
Yeah, exactly.
It happens.
It happens, and I think I don't know if you heard about the issue that was coming up at Sarit Center, where they've had to put extra measures. You can't have unaccompanied minors at Sarit because there are so many issues happening. Vaping, children caught doing inappropriate stuff because they've just been left, right? Yeah. A parent would drop the child, and then by the time the parent is navigating out, the child has taken an Uber out of the other gate and gone somewhere else.
Okay.
That happened, and of course raised a lot of concern. And right now, if your child is at Sarit, they have to be accompanied, right? But of course, that means that by the time the situation was getting to that level, parents were leaving their children. You've gone to bowling. Yes, I will go ball. Finish, then get an Uber back home. When you're ready, call me, I'll come back home. They want to go for movies. You don't want to go and sit with them. So what would you do? Give them money, let them go. When they're done, they ping you. That happens. Delegated parenting.
I can see that happens a lot. I can see that happening. Okay, and so in this case whereby,
and actually, by the way, let me say something, because this is sometimes where I love working with tech companies. There's speaking of movies, there's a parent who had gone to the movie arcade at Junction with a group of girls who were celebrating her daughter's birthday.
Right.
One of them got bored in the middle of the movie and just went to Java to have coffee. She didn't tell anybody. She just went. So as the mom was getting out and doing a head count, we are one less head. And because she had put her Snap geolocation on, her friends were like, oh, she's at Java. She's like, oh, she's at Java. How do you know she's at Java? Her Snapchat was showing her location. That was a good thing at that point, because then they were able to pinpoint where she is. But in a scenario where, even when I was talking to them, I was like, if somebody else knew you're an accompanied minor, but you're just seated alone, and I've found you on Snapchat, I would have done any amount of things, right? So it is almost like a balancing act, but sometimes even apps do help. Like I'm currently working with TikTok on running a Safer Together campaign across the country, and it is really to empower young people on how to be safe on these platforms. To just give them that mandate. Yes, you're on this platform, then what are you doing? How can we not only keep you safe but help you with your mental well-being? Because there's what you will consume online and it will make you feel crazy. It will make you feel like I need to do extra things to live a life like so and so, and probably it's not achievable. So we have those discussions with kids. We are doing these things in schools, as she said. It's not just government, it's not just parents. We have to have these conversations in schools, because I find like some people don't want to talk to their parents. But if I can talk in a space where the three of us are going through the same thing, then I'm not feeling judged, I'm not feeling left out. It's something happening to many of us, then we can come up with a solution.
you look at other countries, right? You find a 13-year-old getting into social media. There is specific things you can do and you can't do, right? Because it's embedded in law, and also it's a communication that they've had with the tech companies, right?
Yeah.
So you find that a parent understands that if I buy this phone for a child, I'll register it as a 13-year-old, so that from the word go, the phone itself will not allow the child to go to some sites because it's been protected from the word go. But what we see is I'll buy the phone, I'll register it as a settle and give it to a child, right? I will open it's YouTube, TikTok, and everything else, but the phone is registered to an adult.
Yes.
So everything else is easy to bypass that. And it's a technical conversation, but one that is necessary. But are we as a jurisdiction having this conversation with the tech companies? Because you find the laws, it seemingly appears as if the laws that apply in the developed countries do not apply here. What must we do then to have this, the tech companies on the table and say, guy, we equally have our standards and you must meet them?
Yeah.
Because most of the time one would say, we are registered in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
You know,
I hear you.
our laws do not apply
Yeah.
in Kenya. How do we have that conversation from that macro level so that even when police are doing investigation, they have a backing, because at that level it's been covered.
Let me play devil's advocate, because I work with tech companies. It is actually true that they enforce some of these things, and as we keep putting pressure in the industry, we are trying to make sure that even as a child is registering like an account as a 13-year-old, we are trying to verify that this is a 13-year-old. Why? We will tell them to take a selfie, then they put somebody's photo. It will bypass that security, right? And they have ways of circumventing. One of the things that, and again, I love case scenarios, because case scenarios show them that something can actually go east very quickly. Do you remember the Ifikie Wazazi hashtag?
Yes.
The child who was, you remember the child who was, ranting all over the Consolata?
Yes.
11-year-old. At the point where you have to keep pushing responsibility back, an 11-year-old should ideally not be on social media. How did they register and got an account? They had to lie about their age. That has nothing to do with tech. It has nothing to do with government. It has everything to do with values, discipline, integrity. And those are the things that now, soft copy, behind the scene, we have to ingrain. Because now you have to show a child, this tech company did not take liability for this case because this child was not supposed to be on this site.
Yes.
Right? So if something were to happen that goes really east on you, have you lied about your age? Have you done this and that? Then let me flip it and say, when parents are giving their children phones, for instance, yours right now, even if you've registered your phone with your Gmail account, which is an adult, all accounts that you've signed up, are above 18.
Yes.
One of those days where you're just feeling, I need to hang out with my friends, do this and this and that, give your child your phone. Then they're accessing TikTok that is above 18. Totally different experience from the young one. Then now when they want to get into an account, they'll be like, my TikTok does not have live, it does not have DM. You already exposed them to a different feeling. So what do you want them to do? They will escalate their age so that I access what my dad accesses. So I think it is also, the honors are on us to try and make sure that we're not also giving them opportunities to try and circumvent the system. But believe me, tech companies are complying. It's just that we have, and as I said, it's an ecosystem that everybody has to play their part and not drop the ball.
Also, let us not be so hard on ourselves. Yeah. Remember, this thing is rapidly evolving every day. Yeah. So even if we are not yet there, we are getting somewhere. And just to say that Kenya, we are somewhere. The other day we had the Namibia government coming to benchmark with us. So what does that tell us? That we are somewhere. Let us not be so hard on ourselves. Yes.
Okay. I think, Ndu, you said something about vigilance, and allow me to just bring a conversation that I just promised I'll have to say, that parents need to start also being in touch with their children more, because now children are falling in love with AI companions. Yes.
Sorry?
Children are falling in love with AI companions.
Yes.
An AI companion that will feel like, if my child is on this platform, they're lonely, they're not interacting with humans. So the companion comes in to give them companionship. Last year, there's a child who actually committed suicide, fell in love with a companion bot, and then they broke up. The child committed suicide.
A bot.
A bot.
Okay.
A chatbot. And this chatbot every day would ask you, "Whether how are you doing? Today you're doing well, tomorrow you're not." And it's concerned. So this child feels, I'm being heard, I'm being seen. People around me don't do this for me, but there's something I can't see, I can't talk, but I can talk to it, and it's giving me companionship. So yeah.
On the flip side,
there is that.
They use that chatbot on the negative. Is it negative or
When something is not working.
something is not working? So we also have a chatbot that can help this child, like heal over some things of the traumas that they have gone in the internet. Yeah, we have a chatbot at the National Helpline, which is 2020. To access it, you dial 2025. Yes.
20205.
Yes, yes. With that, a child can be able to engage with, can initiate a chat, and they're able to talk about everything that they are facing, the traumas online and everything.
So it's interesting because we're talking about children, and we're talking because anybody until the age of 18 is who we're talking about here. It doesn't matter if they're taller than you or whatever, that you're still talking about that space. But are we actually teaching these things to children? And I'm saying in school, because if we talk about intentionality and deliberateness, then it must be entrenched in what we are teaching every day. Like you teach the science and the math and the agriculture and the whatever, because this is such a today problem. It's a today issue that could affect children for years until they're adults. How many times do we hear about traumatized adults who, for the abuse or the trauma, began when they were a child?
Yep.
So are we being intentional then about incorporating some of these things in syllabus, in our education? Because this is the world that we are in today. Are we doing that? It can't just be an extracurricular thing like you do ambassador football or like you do coding on the side of the thing. And so, well, let's talk about cyberbullying. No, because it is something that this Roblox, they're playing it. Look, by the time they come back Friday afternoon, because during the week they're not allowed to touch this thing. They come back Friday afternoon, they're in the thing.
They're binging.
Right. So they're doing it every day. So are we being intentional about teaching it? Because we are talking about them, but are we teaching and having the conversation with them in school where they're learning everything else?
We are actually having sessions to talk to children about these issues through the children assemblies. We have trained so far. We have trained about 1,000 children. Across
assembly in the morning when they go.
No.
Okay.
There are forums for children.
Now in the morning.
Yes, yes, we have forums for children called children assemblies,
Okay.
and we have managed to train about 1,000 in different counties, and also additionally we have a guidebook for children. It's called Safe Online. Yeah, it's available on our website www.childrenservices.go.ke. Yeah, where children are guided about the online risks, how to friendship tips, so many things about how to stay safe online, the emerging trends, and so many things. Also in schools, we have organizations like Life Skills Kenya. We are partnering with them and also the Ministry of Education to ensure that children in schools are well educated about this enemy oxia.
Yeah.
It's necessary that sometimes you don't want to have the conversations because it's just easier to kind of ignore it and hope that it goes away. But it's important for us to then do that. What would be the last thing that you would say to folks today who may have actually struggled with this problem or are not quite sure how to navigate those waters from both of you?
I think for me it will be two things. Adult phones are not for children's eyes. Take a minute to think about that. And then be interested in what your children are interested in. I think if you were to start from that point, it will give you mileage on where to start, what to do. It's like you're taking an inventory, then knowing this is where they are. And then as they grow, then this is how we'll navigate with them. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I would say that let us keep in mind that this thing is not a one-man show. Let us not say it is the parents' responsibility. Let us not blame the government saying that this and these laws are not working, they are not being enforced or such a thing. It starts from the grassroots, from the children themselves. If they are empowered, they are able to protect themselves online. If the parents are empowered, they are able to guide their children on how to use the internet safely. Remember, we say that the internet is not entirely bad.
No.
We have so many positive things that come out from the internet. And we are living in a world there that is everything is being operated in the internet.
Yeah.
So let us come together, tech companies, schools, parents, teachers, and fight this thing.
Great to hear from both of you this morning, and thank you for being here to then being able to champion this conversation. That's something that doesn't end here, but that needs to continue. But thank you for doing that on the Situation Room this morning. Evelyn Casina is a digital learning leader. Charity Isaac is a children officer at the State Department for Children's Services. Thank you both for being here this morning.
Welcome.
And thank you everybody for being in the Situation Room this morning on this Tuesday for us to have these conversations. We'll talk again tomorrow, God willing. Dennis and Ndu saying have a good day. It's 10 a.m.